Oh, hello.
Unlock it so I can call myself in your phone. Through Slack. Slack.
Hi, 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 hi. No, wait, I want to keep that on. Hello, 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 hello. All right, I'm done now. I know. Hold on. Wait, why can't you just open up the Slack app?
Danke. There's no way I'm gonna be able to speak to you through this.
All right.
All right, it's on. Josh is gonna start off though, right?
Yeah, I'll start. We'll start at 7:05 though.
Okay.
Yep. I have it I have the link ready to post.
Hello. What's up, baby? Flexing real hard. What's going on? Huh? Flexing real hard. It's a shirt. It's a shirt? Missing shirt, more like.
Missing sleeves.
Flex game.
We'll start at 7:05.
How'd you come up with the name? Or was it
Oh. Kafali means pay my language, my native language. Yeah, that's why I ended up choosing. Pay. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, you got it. It looks unprepared, but it is actually prepared. We have a website. We have everything running, people. I just haven't touched it in a long time.
Having them be this uninformed about electronics, considering they're like Stanford law graduates with insane amounts of money. As frustrating as this is, it makes me feel really good about myself.
I know. He makes 6 figures.
Dude, he's got to pull at least $500,000. Like, if you look at his LinkedIn, dude, he's worked at two of the top law firms in New York and has a Stanford law degree. He drives an S class.
Nick?
No, that's softball. Nick's like a year out of law school. Yeah.
How about to say?
No, so big law. So big law is actually standard pay across every firm. It's $180K a year starting. I don't know if an HP pays that much though.
Ninja?
Nah.
He was an ex-Halo player.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
You want to guess what?
Over $1 million?
Wasn't it like 200,000 a month or some shit like that? Some stupid amount?
Yeah, it's 450K. That's just for playing this random video game.
This is the guy who went on Twitter with Drake.
Yeah.
Streaming Twitch. You know who Drake is?
I know who Drake is. Yes, I'm not that
Drake did a tweet saying he
Yeah.
played with Ninja, right?
Yeah.
And they broke like the Twitch daily like simultaneously.
Twitch?
I
They
mean-
broke Twitch.
The last person I would expect to stream is Drake though. That's actually, I'm surprised. It's actually worth a ton of money though. Cool. Let me make sure live
They
stream.
got like a couple.
Live stream good? We're good to start? Oh, wait. Before we start, I need to send out the link. Kill this one quick.
You want me to go first? You want me to set up? Warm up the crowd?
Warm up the crowd.
Hey, we
You're
still,
gonna present.
we still have people that take advantage of the pitching in the first part. You get 5 minutes over mic
Yeah.
if you want some practice.
Me?
No,
Or them?
Danny,
Yeah.
you get like 15-20 minutes.
Can I just pitch my usual stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I still introduce though.
No, it's fine.
Are you sure? It's good practice.
This is a bigger crowd.
It's good practice. You're about to pitch. You want to pitch this to investors. You gotta be able to pitch it to.
That looks like vultures, man, that are ready to take apart your idea and rip it to
Always
pieces.
prepared. You know, you pitch to how many executives in Rabbit Cloud? Exactly.
This doesn't want to make me look bad, man. Leave him alone.
All right, we good to start now?
He's just too good.
Cool. All right, hello. My name is Josh, and this is Moonlight. If you have not been to Moonlight before, what we are is a place for makers at 42 to gather and talk about their side projects. And so what that means is whether you have a business you're working on, a project, a tool, whatever it is, we meet every other Wednesday here in the check-in room at 7 p.m., and we have a great chance for you to talk about it. It's made up of 2 parts. The first half, if anyone wishes to, we have an open mic. Anyone can come up and pitch whatever they're working on for up to 5 minutes and get feedback on their idea. And then we also have a demo, which is about 15 or so minutes at the second half. Tonight, that is Opsa with Kafali Pay. I'm really excited about that. He's in Rabbit Cloud, so I'll see him work every day. Besides that, though, if anyone ever wants to demo, feel free to contact me, and I can get you scheduled. So we'll go ahead and get started. Does anyone want to pitch their idea? No? All right. All right. We'll go ahead and go to the demo then. So, welcome, Opsa.
Good evening. My name is Opsa Abdelhalim, and I am working on a project called Kafali Pay with my partners, Lexi Kent and Brenda Montoya. I'm originally from East Africa, and that is actually a big reason why I built this startup, is because it's based around payments, and payment systems across the world are changing, and mobile payments are very popular across the world. But where payments have stayed the same for the past almost 800 years, at least international payments, is East Africa, and the system is pretty archaic, pretty inefficient, and pretty expensive to use. The target market that I am going after is about a 200 million people market, starting with my native country, Ethiopia. And Africa in general is going to grow over the next century. By the end of the next century, this century, we should be around 40% of the human population on Earth. So it is a very big consumer market that is growing today, and any foothold here is very important. The big thing that I am trying to resolve is the fact that East Africa, to send money from the US, $200 from the US to East Africa, when you send a remittance to your relatives, you spend 15%. Say you want to send money to Southeast Asia, you end up paying around 6%. So you can see the huge disparity in this, and this is largely caused by structural things such as the banking infrastructure not being well developed for these people. So what we are trying to create is a mobile payment platform, much like Venmo or PayPal, but one that takes advantage of the fact that these people do not have something that integrates with the existing structures, which is called a Hawala network. So everybody comes in and says, hey, why don't you use my app? But again, internet service isn't very prevalent, but again, a huge amount of the money that is being sent is coming from the outside in. And the way we're trying to get into this market is by giving a way to send money cheaper. The way you normally do it, again, is to go to a kiosk in the US, then give them money, and then the person the merchant service provider says, oh, okay, this person gave us some money. Can you hand this person across the world the exchange value in that locality? So you have 2 kiosks on 2 sides of the world, and you can see where the costs tend to increase from there, between the interchange and then exchange fees between the banks, and suddenly you have people paying somewhat 15%, which is ridiculous. These are some of the major regions of remittance, and one of them is in Africa. South Africa is a very developed economy, and people do work there and send a remittance back to their relatives in other parts of the Gulf states. The US makes up 25% of the remittance market worldwide. So starting here in our native country is actually very important because, again, a huge amount of the remittance sent worldwide is leaving this country. And in many ways, we are trying to increase people's access to banking services, digital banking services. They might not be able to create the infrastructure, the banking infrastructure that exists for us today, but by bypassing that and giving them a mobile bank, just like a mobile wallet, so they can transfer money, is going to revolutionize the entire banking infrastructure. And the best part about this is the people that would use a digital interface like this the most are the people that are in the poorest economies in the world. And the way to target them is to not fight the methods that actually exist today for them to send money, but to align them with your platform and tell them, hey, use our platform and we'll be your kiosk in the US, and you can transfer money straight to your relatives and pick it up the same way you normally do. And you can also, again, see the transaction references and everything right from your mobile phone without worrying about losing the information or having to go back to the kiosk or dealing with a lot of these issues. And I dealt with it too. I was a refugee before I came to the US, so when my relatives sent me money, we had to walk miles to get the money. And then if that money wasn't there, we had to come back another day. So you can see like the headache that is involved in picking up the money. And then when we came stateside, we sent money to our relatives as well. When we sent money, we also had to travel another 20 or 30 minutes and then give money and then get a confirmation number, wait a day or two, give it to our relatives by phone, and then they go to the location and see if it's available. So this causes a lot of confusion, and we can definitely save everybody a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of waste in this process by building an infrastructure on top of the Hawala network, which is what a vast majority of the money is being sent through from here to East Africa. And this is some of our ideas: create unparalleled transparency by hopefully in the future tokenizing our platform and letting people build on top of it as well. These are my core development teams: Brendan Montoya, Lexi Kent, and that's me. And yeah. Our mockups have changed to a significant degree from this right now. Our app doesn't exactly look like this, but it does look very similar to this. And we are still working on it, and I wish I had more mockups to show you guys. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Basically, Okay, so he asked, what does tokenize mean? What I wanted to do originally wasn't to use something heavy like a blockchain solution that will get extensively expensive as time goes on, or build on top of the Stellar network, which is also still a very good option. Again, I'm looking at the options down the line, but right now we are only focused on the remittance process, the way people send money from here to East Africa at the moment. But we are looking at making sure we build around an immutable ledger so people can have user accounts based on top of that.
So what's the process if I want to send money to you? What does that look like? Can you walk us through like the steps involved versus like the current how it is now?
Okay, so if Josh was, say, in the city I was born in Harar, Ethiopia, I go to a kiosk here, I walk over there, I pay about $7 to $30 or $40, depending on what the kiosk feels, because he might be the only merchant in town, and you might not have a choice. You're not gonna leave the city to go to another location, so you pay $40 to send $200, which is ridiculous. And on top of that, the fees that the actual merchants that process the transaction charge. So what we're trying to do is to streamline that down to $2 and have all these give you access to all these merchants. So I pay $2 and $200, and he gets the exchange rate that is for that day on the other side of the world. He picks it up at a local kiosk over there as well, because again, he has to pick it up in cash, since not everybody has our mobile app yet. But when they do, they can just receive it digitally on their phone and transfer it across.
And what would your app do? Like, how would it make it easy? Like, what would the process look for after Kafali? What would it be like after Kafali Pay?
It's right now, it's like going from here to RIA. When you go to a RIA kiosk store here, you end up paying a fee to the retailer of that shop, and then RIA charges its fees, and then your relative goes to a RIA store within their native countries to pick it up. And when they do that, they pay, it isn't a lot of fees. Actually, they're fairly efficient processes of doing this in most countries, but some countries have very archaic institutions that you can't, that they want to regulate the exchange rate. Regulating the exchange rate is fairly impossible because you just add another layer where somebody goes and buys a product in US dollars and imports it through the back door and then says, oh yeah, you know, bribe somebody here. It just adds another layer on top of the economy of inefficiency, doesn't do anything different. So what I wanted to avoid was getting into that question itself by having merchant service providers like RIA, like the Hawala network providers, which there's several of them, and they process, at least in Ethiopia, an estimated 80% of the transactions going there. So that's a vast majority, but on paper, they only see what is sent through banks, which is, they say 800 million, but the World Bank begs to differ.
So my question is, good talk by the way so far. Does your apps talk to the bank, or you go straight to, is it Kafali Pay to the bank to the network, or just Kafali Pay to the network, then from the network to where they pick it up, like a bank, and then to a kiosk or something like that?
We're basically becoming their American kiosk, just like any corner store within the United States that you would actually sanction this out to. And we just, it's Kafali Pay to RIA or Kafali Pay to the Hawala network, not another bank intermediary that handles international transaction. Because if they're already certified to work with we only want to work with partners that are already certified to work within the US and then outside. We don't want to deal with the regulatory burden of dealing with facing like financial laws here, financial laws there, and whatever country this money goes through.
Hi. So what I wanted to know is, how is like the exchange rate and the inflation and fluctuation of the currency, like how does this tie in?
That is actually a very important feature because, again, when you transfer money, the part that I want to do in the future is tokenize it so people can just send the US dollar and then exchange it at their leisure. Because trying to save money in the US dollar is a lot more efficient than saving in the Ethiopian birr, which lost 35% of its value in 5 years compared to US to about 10% or 11% in 5 years to inflation. So when you look at it in totality, it makes much more sense to always save in the US dollar or any major currency that is in circulation. So lower economies like Zimbabwe, for instance, you're not gonna save your money in Zimbabwe's currency. So I want people to have the autonomy to choose someday. Any question?
One last one. You said it's like a 15% fee roughly to send it now?
Yes.
Up to? What would it be with Kafali Pay?
With Kafali Pay, the one thing that we are giving is convenience to the sender so far. The thing is, we're not decreasing the total amount of fees other than by making sure the sender, the person that is sending the money, isn't paying exorbitant fees to their kiosk. If there's only one Hawala available, one Hawala store within their city, within like 100 kilometers, you're kind of screwed. So you're not gonna bother doing anything else but sending and paying an exorbitant fee. So what we're doing is just cutting that fee down to $2. It averages between $10 to $30 normally, so bringing it down to $2 and being a kiosk for any of these hawalas will change the entire dynamic for people because they will trust us to send their money already. So transferring to being a peer-to-peer mobile payments platform will be much easier after that.
How's your marketing strategy? Is it in the beginning like more word of mouth kind of thing, or how do you approach this many people?
interestingly enough, Facebook works very well. And I'm targeting people that speak on their profile a certain language. Usually any of the 5 or 6 major East African languages or 7 major East African languages is the best way for me to go about this. Because normally when you send money, you send your kid with the money to the store to do this. So usually your kid is in high school or college. And if you market the services to this person, he will be smart enough to think, hey, I don't want to drive 30 minutes. I have class to go to, I have to go study, I have to go hang out with my friends. So they're more inclined to use a mobile app to do this and then just text them the confirmation number to their relative right from a mobile app.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's everything for this week. All right, thank you, everyone. And once again, if anyone would like to demo in the future, just reach out to me on Slack. I'm JTRUJILL. Thanks.